Hi, welcome to Reviews by Women.
Today we're looking at the film Joan Rivers, A Piece of Work, featuring, of course, Joan Rivers in the starring role, with guest appearances by her daughter Melissa, and Kathy Griffin and Dawn Rickles also appear.
It was directed by Ricky Stern and co-directed by Annie Sundberg.
I just wondered what your opinion was of the effect of the film as a whole.
It made me think about the position of women in comedy and women in, actually in swearing.
Oh, women relative to the use of profanity.
Yes.
Yes, Ms. Rivers excels at that. Did you find it offensive?
When I did find it offensive, I thought, how dare I find it offensive, because I wouldn't be offended probably as much if a man was doing it, and that upset me to feel that differently about men and women in comedy.
Yeah.
What do you think of it overall?
Overall, I felt that the private life of a celebrity just does not warrant 1 hour and 24 minutes of film time. So I think Ms. Rivers, like many, is a celebrity whose life on stage is much more interesting than her private life.
Oh, I thought you were going to say she needed more time. So you're saying she needed less time.
Absolutely. I felt it was like one of those excruciating moments when you're watching Family slideshow.
Oh dear.
And one's very interested and polite in the beginning, but I was very bored after 40 minutes.
Oh.
I just didn't have that much interest. While at the same time I'm a deep admirer of her skill, her talent, and her comedic abilities. And even of her tenacity toward life and her career. I just didn't think that the film itself was very successful.
I was only disappointed at the very ending because it felt sort of like, oh, the ending didn't feel like an ending sort of thing. It was just sort of, well, the documentary's over now, we're going to stop. But then I forgave everything because during the credits is some of the funniest comedy. And so I felt, oh, okay, well, I'm forgiving you for the bad ending because...
I agree. I loved every time she said a joke.
Right.
It was ever so much more entertaining than the film.
But the film included the jokes. How can you separate them?
I would have preferred to just see the jokes.
Oh, like a comedy routine.
Yeah, I thought her work is what sets her apart, and that was so obvious in the movie. Her everyday life is just not that interesting, and I actually thought it rather offensive in our difficult economic times. The little bit of whiner that was there, like, it's not that easy being rich and famous. I mean, I'm sorry, it didn't elicit much sympathy from me.
Well, I thought about the effort it takes to be on the road, and I thought it'd be a good example for someone who wanted to break into the business to see it. I think it has value for someone who would like to imitate her, perhaps someday. Would you like to be Joan Rivers when you grow up? You could study her life.
Well, I did think it was a wonderful testament to the work behind creating this air of extreme ease that a stand-up comic has, as though it were just casual commentary. I just felt I didn't need to see the struggles of Joan Rivers with all those furs and beautiful necklaces that she wore and everything. I think that she was worried about job security, and so is, you know, the woman standing behind the bank counter. And I think by comparison, it's rather distasteful.
Wow. Okay.
Well, if you think about some of the lines, for example, she says, I'll tell you about fear. And she shows us her blank calendar. And then today on the radio, I heard about the trial of the Khmer Rouge torturer. And I thought, now that's fear. Get a grip. So I'm sorry. I love Joan Rivers, and she's a wonderful example for us for hanging in there. I mean, she does whatever is necessary. I just didn't think that the film was as great as she is.
Thank you for joining us on Reviews by Women.
And we do remember how much easier it is to criticize than to create.